right, how's everybody holding up?
We made it, man.
Doing good? I'd like to get started with the closing session of our festivities here in this two-day event called At Large, a conference for the new majority. You guys have, I think, seen a pretty good show thus far. Would y'all not agree?
Yes.
How about that lunch? Did Albert Guillory make a little news, you think? Just in case you guys didn't know, Stephen Handler, who is the executive director of the Louisiana Democrat Party, responded to Albert Guillory becoming the first, well, I don't want to say the first, the only current black Republican state senator in the United States of America. Stephen Handler, the executive director of the Louisiana Democratic Party, called that action of switching parties craven today. Man decides he wants to be the only one of his kind in the United States of America, and he gets called a coward.
Wow.
So that should give you a little bit of an indication of what we've got going on. And it kind of plays into something that I've been saying as we've been planning this conference, which is this. The Democrats and the left know that their governance and that their policies, their policy positions, are indefensible as a matter of fact where the black community is concerned. We've talked about many of these issues here today. We've talked about the Second Amendment. We've talked about school choice. We've talked about economics. We've talked about, you know, abortion. How about Ryan Baumberger today? How was that? We've talked about those issues. We could talk about many more. We could talk about unions. We could talk about immigration. We could talk about minimum wage. There's lots of stuff out there. And in every single one of these cases, there's a common thread, which is they favor policies that hurt everybody, certainly, but the most vulnerable people about that. So they've concocted a strategy over the last several decades. And that strategy is this: build a barrier between the black community and the Republican Party. And that barrier is, if you are a white Republican or a conservative, you're a racist. And if you're a black Republican or conservative, you're an Uncle Tom. One of the strategies here at Large, that as we develop this thing into a multi-million-dollar, many thousands of people showing up event, is to flood the zone with people who are interested in the political process, who are conservatives, and who want to run for office, and put themselves out there and say, call me an Uncle Tom. Go ahead, I dare you. Because when you flood that zone, that barrier is going to fall. Right. Those are weak bricks in that wall. And so I think what you saw today when Albert Guillory decided to knock a brick out of that wall was a perfect example of them trying to hold up that barrier. We're going to call a man craven for doing the most absolutely courageous thing in American politics today, right? So with that, I want to get our closing session started with a couple of the most courageous people I know. And I want to first off bring up C.L. Bryant, who's going to get us kicked off today. Thank
you. I have the privilege today to introduce to you a very strong and very courageous woman. And Deneen, I want you to know that I think this is the first time I have introduced you, and we've traveled all over the country together. And this is a particular honor because I was reared in a two-parent home, of course, and my mother was a very strong personality, a very strong woman. And I was raised and reared to appreciate that in women. And of course, I was raised to respect women. This woman that I am about to introduce to you, this patriot that I'm about to introduce to you, is exactly that. She is a very strong woman, and she is courageous, and she is a woman who not only commands respect, she keeps on commanding respect. I met Deneen nearly 4 years ago now in September. We were both slated to speak at an event that the night prior to it on a rooftop in Washington, D.C. I asked the organizers at Freedom Works, how many did they expect this 9/12 rally that they had organized? And for those of you who don't really know, Freedom Works is the father of the 9/12 movement and the Tea Party movement. They are the father of it. Deneen and I met on that rooftop that night before that great march, and they told me, well, CL, we'll be very happy if 10,000 people show up. Most of you may realize that 1.7 million folks descended upon Washington, D.C. She and Tom were getting ready for her to speak, and I spoke to them and introduced myself to them. And since that day, Deneen and I have been pretty fast friends around the country. But I can tell you this one thing. Her message has been trumpeted on Fox News, where she is a contributor. She speaks out courageously, and if you are a Fox News station listener, you will see her face many, many places and many, many times. I am proud to call this woman of respect, this woman of courage, and this strong personality my friend. And so I give to you the author of Blacklash, and you do need to get this book. Don't go home without this book. Be sure to get this book. It tells a story that each and every one of you will be able to relate to. My friends, let's give it up for Deneen Morelli.
Thank you, CL, my brother in crime.
Yes.
What's up, Patriots?
Hey.
I'm from New York. I got up early to be here the other day, flying and traveling, and Helga patting me down in TSA security. I said, what's up, Patriots? All these football fans in the house, you can't tell me you're not loud and rowdy. But it's a beautiful day for liberty. And it has been an amazing day and a half to be here to spend time with all of you here today. My husband and I, Tom, we travel the country talking about liberty because there's only one America.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's up to us to keep America what it is, and that is free. And I'm honored to be here today because we are here to reignite liberty in America. I didn't say fundamentally transform America, but to reignite liberty and to spread the word to others that we all have a role to play, to rein in government gone wild, and to preserve liberty, because our country is an exceptional country.
Here, here.
Yes.
Exceptional country. And we're here to talk about broadening the conservative movement, the conservative base. We are about liberty and freedom, not telling anyone what to do, but we're about liberty and freedom. America is an exceptional country, and I am living proof of America's exceptionalism. I mean, think about it. Where else could a girl from New Jersey, leaving home with no money, a car payment, car insurance, other bills, no money, living in basement apartments, living on ramen noodles for a lot of meals, okay?
Yeah.
Where else could someone end up as an author, Fox News contributor, and traveling the country to meet wonderful, freedom-loving people such as yourself? You can't tell me America is not an exceptional country. only in America. If I can adopt conservative principles, anybody can. I didn't know anything about being conservative or liberal, Democrat, Republican. I did what my parents did, right? I didn't do any research. I didn't look at how our politicians were voting and making policies that would affect us, affect our everyday lives. I had no idea, and I didn't care. I'll admit it, I didn't care. I was too busy working. Well, I am thrilled to be in my role as Outreach Director with Freedom Works. It is an amazing platform. CL mentioned us meeting in 2009. We had no idea what we were getting into. No idea. It was a beautiful day in Washington, D.C. And I tell you, to stand up there and look around the crowd of the millions of people standing around there on their own time and own dime, not knowing what was going to result from it. You can't tell me America is not an exceptional country, because it is. And I have an amazing opportunity to utilize my God-given talents to spread the word of liberty to all Americans, but especially those in the Black community, because they are being lied to. What we need to get communicated to the Black community is that progressives want us, Blacks, to be permanent, dependent class of people. Dependent. Our tax dollars, my friends, are being used to make a dependent class that will always vote for their government masters. Always vote for their government masters. The left's vote buying scheme needs to end, and it needs to end now. And it's up to us to play a role in ending it. Listen, Obama's redistribution plan is not working. Unemployment is over 7%. Our labor participation rate is at a 35-year low. Over $2 billion for Obama phones. We know about that, right? Obama phones.
Yeah.
Over 47 million Americans are on food stamps. More citizens on food stamps than citizens in the state of California. These numbers are deplorable. Too many takers, not enough makers. Obama's energy policy, Tom talked about it earlier, it's not working. He has a war on fossil fuels. We're in Louisiana. Our country has a wealth of abundant natural resources. We should be utilizing those resources, but our leader of the free world has a command and control energy policy. And this policy is harming hard-working Americans, because think about it. If you're on a fixed income, a low-income household, where is that extra money supposed to come from when you're trying to figure out how to feed your family, get your medicine, clothe little Johnny who's growing up and needs new shoes and clothes? Where does the money come from? Nobody thinks about that. Obamacare is not working. Insurance costs will skyrocket. It's not even implemented yet, and people are already losing hours. If you are an hourly worker in a restaurant, for example, hours are being cut back because employers can't afford it. They're getting ready for what's about to hit us. We have no idea. It's not working. Obama believes, my friends, in the power of big government and not the power of the individual. And these are his words to the Black, so a great tool for you. So support those who have their projects. Buy my book, buy CL's DVD. There are other Black conservatives in this room. Make sure you meet them and find out what they do, what they're involved in. Mika, her husband, Will, Wayne, and others. Meet these individuals and find out what they do, what they're involved in. We all can use your support. We all need backup. I have had the pleasure of establishing relationships with individuals, especially through social media. And one of the opportunities I had was to get an audience filled of Black conservatives on Hannity not too long ago.
Here, here.
And we will be doing other specials like that in the future. And you know, the special built a real excitement in the Black community. I can't tell you how many people contacted me of all backgrounds. Are you going to do it again? That was great. How do I get involved? Because what we talked about on that special is that we have a room full of Black conservatives, but there are many more of us out there.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, there are a lot of closet Black conservatives because they are afraid of coming out, being vocal and true to their values. So what's been most gratifying to me is the feedback and the visibility that I have gotten networking with Black conservatives who are stepping up and speaking out because they are no longer afraid.
That's right, Denise.
FreedomWorks has a new website, empower.org. Empower.org. Please check it out, refer your friends. It is a community for Black conservatives to network, to learn, educate, and have a voice. A voice for the individuals I just mentioned, that we can tell the world that we exist, we're about liberty, and we're not about telling you what to do. Now, because as you can imagine, being a Black conservative is not an easy task. Part of the problem is the name calling. That's just part of the problem. But think about it. Aunt Jemima, Uncle Tom, traitor, token, sellout. Some of this is from people I know, people I'm close to, that you would never expect. And some of this is from people in their basement, because they don't want to debate me on my values of being a conservative, of being a person for limited government and personal responsibility. They resort to name calling because that's all they got.
That's all they got.
That is all they have. So that's the real pressure that comes with being a Black conservative, one who may be new to the movement and doesn't know how to handle it. Think about holidays. You come out and say, I'm a conservative. Can you imagine the conversation at Thanksgiving? Or lack of conversation? What happens in the workplace? This is a significant social pressure. I thought this was America, freedom of speech. You should be able to say whatever you want. And again, it's about liberty, not telling anyone what to do. Now I'm going to move on to the messages. And the messages for me is clear. With Obama, for example, and the left, we have his actual words that you can use in defense of liberty. It's on video, it's on audio. Those who believe in big government and not the power of the individual. You have plenty of resources out there. So here are a few questions that you can have a conversation with those who just don't get it. Why does Obama oppose the DC school voucher program? And his daughters are set for life, for quality education. Why is it okay for President Obama to send his children to a private school and you can't? Why won't President Obama approve the Keystone XL pipeline? Jobs, more energy, privately funded, tax revenue. What good can come from bankrupting an industry like the coal industry? What good could come from wanting electricity prices to necessarily skyrocket? That was before he was president. Why was it a significant amount of tax money being given to Obama's special interest groups and friends? That's our money. Here's another one. Why does Al Sharpton have his own TV show and he's rich?
Why?
Why?
Amen.
Finally, and most important, reaching new Black individuals or any new group of individuals is about establishing relationships. It's not about the election. Establishing long-term relationships. Yes, it's work, it's going to take time, but it's for the country. It's for the future generation of this country. And it's the morally right thing to do. We had Black Roots activists come to DC for FreedomWorks. We had an event back in February this year. Mika and her husband Will were there. what they learn from these events, they take that back home to their community to spread the word. And we provide them with a support system. We don't just teach them and tell them things and give them information and it's hands off, you figure it out. We are there. We're there for you. And I always make time to follow up with people. So that really there are no excuses. Another thing there is no excuse about is that anyone should be able to talk about liberty. I don't care what color you are, what background you're from, anyone should be able to talk about liberty, because if you fall under the pressure of being called names, it's over. We need you to stand up. We need everyone here to utilize your God-given talents. We can't do it alone. Again, I didn't plan this. I did not plan this. But I am more than thankful and grateful that I can stand up for liberty and I can sleep at night.
Hear, hear.
I am proud of what I do. And as I close, I want to leave you with this. Our country does not guarantee you success, but liberty guarantees you the opportunity to succeed.
Hear, hear.
And I will stand on the front lines for liberty to keep the doors of opportunity open for everyone. If I can do it and not have a clue about what the labels are, that's why we need to keep the labels out of the conversation. Talk about liberty, talk about empowering people. That is America. And we need you to take a stand for liberty. I thank you all for your time. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Bravo.